Estonia has a bustling startup scene, and over the last decade plus, we've created this sort of scene that is has 1,300 teams building, raising $1 billion a year in money and producing 10 unicorns already. But even when you've achieved all of that, we always want to see the sort of the level of the innovation and challenges and startups coming from Estonia to always grow up. And the best way to do that is to network into the global community. So my hope for CDL Estonia first and foremost is that this will be a way how to attract dozens of new teams who would never have happened to come to Estonia before, on one side, participating in CDL, and on the other side, all the amazing mentors that I've seen active across the CDL programs in other places in the world, in Oxford or Toronto or so forth. So it's all about connecting Estonian tech scene with the global scene better. We chose digital society as the theme for CDL Estonia, mostly to play on the strengths that we already have in this country. And I would argue that this is one of the most digital societies in the world. And what this digital society means in this context is that from one side you have private enterprises, startup companies building technologies and innovating. On the other side, you have the regulatory environments, government data sets, public services. And very often we've seen that magic happens when these two sides work together. So, for example, in health and biotech, when we say digital society, we would really love to see more companies come to Estonia, and Tartu University has an amazing biobank and structures around that. So people who are trying to build new medicines, new services, some innovation in health tech, that would plug into the public data sets of Estonian government gathered DNA samples. So that's an example where new value can be born. But in a similar way, maybe there is a startup that is solving for identity and is innovating on how to use, AI to figure out who's who, and then create it in a way that this can also be used to authenticate people using particular government services. So there is this sort of fusion of different data sets, I think, that could be seen as a common theme, but at the same time we try to leave it broad enough to see what kind of innovative companies show up, thinking about this sort of next generation societal topics. CDL is renowned for the super high level of experience of the mentors. So very often when you look at some startup accelerators, startup founders and advice coming from other startup founders very often, or some investors. So we have a bit of that too. But for example, I myself have been participating in CDL Oxford AI track as a mentor, and you might have the former head of the British Navy, or a chairman of a largest medical company, or somebody who was a managing partner at McKinsey, and people who come from these different areas of businesses, not just early tech companies, and then can help these budding companies and budding entrepreneurs to solve for these big problems they have solved in their careers. And then, because CDL has its roots in academia, there's also a very strong bench of mentors with academic backgrounds, either teaching marketing or finance or other topics at business schools, or because many of the startups have some deep tech sort of approaches to them, it's not uncommon to also see people who have strong academic backgrounds researching computer science at PhD level, or researching material sciences. And that sort of unique fusion and combination of this very, very experienced people, along with this very intense format where everything is very pre-programmed, all the time spent is pre-planned in a very efficient way, I believe startups get a lot of value out of that effort. I have a sort of very strong philosophical belief that technology can be used to make the world better, like as a whole, as a planet as a whole, but also on individual human level, at faster than we've ever been able to do that before. And those trends happen across different industries. The way, computer science 20 years ago was applied in certain industries, and now it's getting to another industries. Like, let's say, computer scientists were solving computer science problems originally, but now as the sort of ubiquity of technology and the speed of technology has accelerated in different industries, now people in biomedical fields can use the software and hardware that was developed to create innovation in their space. So Um, I think that makes the landscape of technological change way more interesting because it's less about sort of computers or phones or networks as things in themselves, but the story is much more about, okay, how exactly did we fix a big climate problem? How did we fix a big health problem? How did we fix something around avoiding wars, like the space is growing ever wider. Looking to sign up two kinds of people right now. There's a search for great mentors, and we want to have a very mixed group between so the people that come from Estonia or are already spending time in Estonia and those who come from other countries and other CDL programs as mentors to sort of strengthen the group. And secondly, we are starting to recruit startups for the first batch. The first session will be held in late October. So over the summer, there's an application process, and the bar is really, really high. So my personal hope is that if we accept for 20 startups, maybe one comes from Estonia, and many others are left out because there are 19 other local players, and everybody can see where the global bar is. So the applicants are coming from all CDL locations and all around the world, and hopefully only the best teams get picked for CDL Estonia's inaugural batch.